Hello Bloomington, I'm Mayor Tim Bussey, and this is the Council Minute for the week of April 10th. No council meeting this week, but I wanted to update you on a couple of items that we talked about at our most recent meeting. Even though it's only now starting to look like spring, we had our first budget-related discussion at our council meeting on April 3rd. It included a quick overview of the 2023 budget that we're in the middle of right now, a discussion on the budget process, and ideas and suggestions around public engagement. Now, officially, the citywide budget kickoff is next month on May 18th. There will be a lot of work to get done between then and December 4th, when the council will ultimately approve the final 2024 tax levy and budget. But that's 8 months out. I'm getting way ahead of myself. First, the quick review that we talked about. We've made it clear that the city will invest in our community priorities, and that we will do so to make Bloomington an enduring and remarkable community where people want to be. Last December, the City Council approved a 2023 property tax levy of $74.5 million, an increase of 9.15% over 2022. And the vast majority of that increase is going towards significant investments in public safety, our police and fire departments. We've already added 18 new full-time firefighters as part of a federal SAFER grant, and we plan to add 3 more this summer. It's all part of the transformation from a predominantly paid on-call department to a hybrid model of full-time and part-time firefighters. Changes that are absolutely necessary to improve fire response times and to better serve the safety needs of this community. The budget also adds 3 new police officers, along with a new dispatch training coordinator. The additional officers will help decrease the amount of overtime officers are expected to work to meet basic staffing needs. Now, when we talk about a budget reflecting community priorities, here's a very clear look at what that means. For every city property tax dollar collected, 50 cents goes to police and fire. Another 25 cents goes to public works, which is one of the reasons why Bloomington streets were in much better shape this winter than what you experienced while driving in our neighboring cities. So, for every city property tax dollar collected, 75 cents goes to police, fire, and public works. That's a city budget that reflects a community's priorities. And to be clear, the City Council and the city staff didn't simply come up with those priorities. And that brings us to the topic of public engagement around the budget. In 2022, finance staff and other city employees engaged community members more creatively than ever before. Finance staff expanded the budget webpage with videos, with links to presentations, and articles with extensive information on the budget planning process. Staff went out and engaged with residents at 7 different community events, from the farmers market to concerts in the park. They wanted to learn more about what was important to residents when it came to the budget and city services. I and my council colleagues, we discussed the budget at 8 different council meetings and at 5 town hall forums in the community. The National Community Survey also addressed budget-related topics. Based on all that feedback, based on the community's engagement and the thoughtful discussion of the council, I can confidently say the 2023 budget reflects the community's priorities. I can also say that level of engagement has become the baseline of what you can expect in terms of engagement around the city budget. The city will continue to work to make Bloomington's finances and budget process straightforward, transparent, and easier to understand. We'll work to tell the stories around our budget discussions and not just report the numbers. We'll continue to have those conversations with residents to ensure that our city budget reflects community priorities. A couple of other things to keep in mind as we head into budget season. First, Bloomington has a long history of outstanding financial management. Once again this year, Bloomington is one of 33 cities out of more than 19,000 cities in the United States with 3 AAA bond ratings. And this past year, Bloomington was awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting from the Government Finance Officers Association. It's the highest form of recognition for excellence in local government finance reporting, and Bloomington has received the Certificate of Achievement for 50 straight years. Second, Bloomington is very fortunate to have a broad base of revenues that goes beyond property taxes. Things like lodging and admissions taxes, permits and licenses, and utility fees Make it so that the city is not as dependent as other cities on property taxes. And finally, as we talked about last week, Bloomington has about an even balance in values between residential properties and commercial and industrial properties. That rough 50-50 balance is not usually seen outside of central cities and is very rare in communities that developed as suburbs. The more typical balance in a suburb is about 75 to 80% residential and only 20 or 25% commercial and industrial. The result of that 50-50 split is that residential property taxes are lower because of the strong commercial and industrial base in the city. That's why the work that we do to retain, attract, and cultivate business in Bloomington is so important. As I mentioned earlier, this is just our first step in the budget process. We still have a long way to go, and there will be plenty of opportunities for residents to weigh in. Please don't be shy. We absolutely want to hear from you and ensure that our 2024 budget reflects the community's priorities. For additional information on the budget, check out the city's budget webpage at blm.mn/budget. Also last Monday, staff provided an update on the 98th Street study that's been underway for about a year now. Staff have been looking at the 98th Street corridor from James Avenue right here at Civic Plaza over to Lyndale Avenue, including the interchange at 35W. There are two things about the area that I think can be stated as fact. First, I don't care if you drive, walk, bike, or use transit. In that stretch of 98th Street, it's not very pleasant. It's always congested, the environment is cold and sterile, and it can be dangerous if you're on foot or on bicycle. Second, the 35W 98th Street interchange has always been a key interchange in the city. It's also become an important transit hub. It's one of two stops in the city for the Orange Line bus rapid transit line, and it serves as a transfer point for a number of different bus routes that feed stops from the Mall of America to Normandale. So it's a pretty significant transfer hub. So staff has been working to develop a long-term plan that will improve conditions for everyone who uses that area. And they brought into the discussion the important stakeholders like MnDOT, Hennepin County, the Met Council, and Metro Transit, along with the City of Bloomington departments and the users of the area. The goals they've developed for the study match the realities of the area. The first goal, to develop a long-term plan for the interchange that preserves and enhances transit and the 98th Street Transit Station. Second, to identify near-term and long-term changes to improve conditions for non-motorized users. Third, to improve safety for all users. And fourth, to emphasize engagement with communities of color, people with low income, people with disabilities, older adult populations, and people who walk and bike. Now, it's nice to know that a year into this study, the consensus of the stakeholders is that, yes, those goals that I've just stated, they can indeed be met. City staff and the consultants who are helping out have done a really nice job with a variety of public engagement opportunities, including pop-up events at the transit station and the farmers market. They've been using sidewalk decals and videos and social media to generate publicity, and they've had an open house and an online comment period on Let's Talk Bloomington. The feedback they've received won't surprise you. Motorists have said the merge from Old Shakopee Road onto 98th Street is a mess. And the weave to get over 2 lanes to go north on 35W is also a bad design. Pedestrians and bicyclists talk about the need for more signalized crossings, more room for them to operate, and about the dangers of the free right turns at many of the intersections. There's also general agreement that capacity and mobility at Lyndale needs to be maintained. From a development and redevelopment standpoint, there are a lot of opportunities for work to be done at the transit station and just to the north at the Clover Center and the Ford dealership. Transit-oriented development is just waiting to happen in that entire area. In the coming months, the goal is to continue to get feedback, especially from the impacted public agencies, to narrow down and refine the options and opportunities, and then to present the final concept to both the public and the City Council later this summer. Look for staff at the farmers market this spring, or keep up with the study at letstalk.bloomington.gov/West98th. That will do it for this week's Council Minute. Thanks you very much for joining me today. Until next time, stay safe, Bloomington.